Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this tutorial, I'll be learning how to get the best effect of padding your bustier using just wadding. So this was the final fit. I'll be putting a detailed tutorial on how to sew this bustier top. The link will be in the description by the time it's ready. So now I've already drafted out my bustier and I prepared the fabric using just one layer of ST. So I've already gummed the ST on it. Now to pad the bustier, I'm just going to be ruling out where the pad will be. Now I'm going to be taking out ½ an inch from the part I will sew, and then for the full padding, I'll just go ahead and away from the seam allowance, I'll just go ahead and mark out my shape just like this, but make sure it doesn't get to your seam your allowance that you added. So now I'll just highlight it using my chalk for you to see it clearly. Now this part of the tip of the bustier that we took out ½ an inch, we're not going to be padding up to that part. By the time I'm done padding, you will understand what I mean. So now I'll do the same thing for the other part, and also I'll repeat the same for the middle part of my bustier as well. The upper part, make sure that you come down by ½ an inch so that it will be easy for you to sew as well, since the wadding is a thick wadding, because I'm using a thick wadding for this padding, and you should use a thick wadding as well. Since we're going to be using just wadding, it should be a thick wadding. Now for the middle part, I'm going to go up by about 1 or 1½ inch, because it will help you to give a seamless look on the middle part, so your bustier doesn't start cutting at that part of it. So now this is the wadding I'm using. This is a thick wadding. The part that can stick to the fabric is what I'm going to be using to face this part of my fabric. Now this wadding can be difficult to come to your fabric, so what I do usually is, after cutting it out like this and cutting out the shape, I'll just flip it over to the other side and iron it directly from the fabric, so that it can at least attach to the fabric. Make sure that it is the part that has the gum that is facing your fabric directly. So now this is what I'll just do. By the time I'm done, I'll just flip it over, and then I'll place my hot iron on top of it. Make sure that it is not too hot to burn your fabric, but it is hot enough to let it stick to your fabric. Now after this, I'll repeat the same for the other parts. Make sure that you don't gum it to the up of the fabric, so that it will be easy for you to sew, since it's a thick wadding. Now that part that we went up by 1 inch, so now I'll iron it directly from the part that's from the fabric part. I'm just trying to take out the excess that gums to the top of it. So I'll repeat the same for the third part as well. Make sure that on the side of the side of your bustier, make sure that it is you don't cut it straight. Make sure that you cut it curve. It also helps to make your bustier stay firm, so it doesn't lay flat as well. That curve line helps a lot. That curve line at the side of the bustier helps a lot. Alright, now that I'm done attaching my wadding to my fabric, now it has stuck to my fabric, I'm going to be using my cotton ST, one layer of my cotton ST, the same ST that I used to prepare the fabric, one layer of it. I'm just going to make sure that my iron is hot and attach it to and gum it to this fabric that I've already prepared with my wadding as well. I'm going to repeat the same process for all 3. Like I'll repeat the same for the remaining 2 as well. This will help it to just blend in very well. Aside from helping you to hold your wadding in place, it will help it to blend in very well. And that part that we took out half an inch from the tip of the bustier, by the time you are done sewing, it's just going to blend in. It doesn't have to look like it is empty. I'll repeat the same process for all of them. Just the way I've attached it to the first, I'll repeat the same for the remaining 2. When ironing your essay, make sure that your iron is hot, like I said, but not hot enough to burn your fabric, but just hot enough to make sure that your interface stays glued to your fabric. If it doesn't stay glued to your fabric, you're going to be having bubbles on your fabric. And you see the way I'm ironing it, I'm not taking it back and forth. I'm just placing it on top of the fabric, removing it and then putting it back on top so that it just sticks to it. And into those ironing it that way will just let it stick to it and avoid those fabric bubbles that you usually see. So there will be no, the front of your fabric, there will be nothing like squeeze at the front of it. It's just going to be smooth. So now that I'm done, on this main middle, I wanted to just attach a chantilly net on top of it. So this is not part of the padding process, but this is what I did to the middle of the middle panel of this my bustier. I'll be putting a sewing tutorial out on this bustier by the time it is ready. So I'll attach the link to the description whenever it is ready. So just turn on your post notification for whenever this tutorial will be ready to be posted. So now I'm just going to be following half an inch to sew on my bustier. I'll follow the line. Remember that line, that half an inch I left, I'll follow it and sew it. Make sure that when you are sewing it, there's no sharp edge. It's just going to go smoothly. You see, by the time you sew it smoothly with just the following the line, there will be no pointiness. Now if you turn it and you notice that it is a bit pointy, make sure that you just blend it in like I did here, and then that same allowance that you used to blend it in, you just open the first one so that by the time you are ironing, it can just lay flat. Now make sure that you take your time when sewing this part, because that curved part of your bustier can be very tricky. And make sure that the under bust they all align. You can first of all measure it with your hand first before going to your sewing machine to sew on it. So now this is what we have by the time I'm done. So I'll just go ahead and take it to my ironing table. This is the effect we have. We've not ironed it yet, we've not notched the under bust, but this was the effect we already have. So now I'll just go to my ironing table now and then I'll iron. I've already repeated this process for my lining. So I've already repeated the same process that I did here for my lining. Now this was what I've already ironed my lining. You can notice the watermarks. I've already ironed my lining. This was what it gave to me. So I'll just put the lining aside now. I'm going to show you how I iron the lining to get that effect. Now I'm just going to notch my under bust. Please make sure you notch your under bust so that part can relax, and then I will notch a few places like the middle of the bustier, the sharp point of it. Now I'm just going to put my ironing ball under. This ironing ball, you can easily do it with pieces of ST, I have a tutorial on how to do it in my channel. I'll just insert the link in the description box as well. So now make sure that your iron is really hot at this point, and then when your ironing board is underneath, iron the seam lines of the bustier. Iron it very well, open it up and iron it. If you have any extra lines that you run on the bustier, make sure that you lose it open. Then if you have a steam, if your iron is the steam of your iron is working, make sure that you use your steam. But mine is not working anymore, so that's why I'm using the can of water. So if you're using a dry iron, you can actually use the can of water like that, just bust some holes on it and then use it to iron your bustier. So I'm just going to open these lines up. Make sure that you open every seam lines like this and then you iron. Iron it very well, and then I'll flip it now to the good side of the fabric, and then I'll put my water, and then I continue to iron as well. Make sure that everything is laying very well. The sharp point of your ironing board should be at the tip of your bustier, and then you iron. Take your time while ironing this. If you don't iron it very well, you're not going to get a very good result. So now by the time I'm done ironing, I'll just cut off the excess, because now at this point I'm going to be using strip of STs to just layer on this part of the bustier. Now I'm just going to be layering it from the upper part to my underbust. Make sure that it doesn't exceed your underbust. If it does, it's going to make your bustier straight. Make sure that you start your ironing from the part where you took out the ½ inch to where we have our underbust. Now I'm going to be adding this layers, about 3 of it, to just help it firm. Now by doing this, by the time you pop your bustier outside, you're just going to push out by itself. It will help to just push out by itself. There will be nothing like the middle point part of your bustier is pushing in. So this will just help it to push out, and it will just make the transition look smooth. So make sure that you iron it very, very well. In fact, this part is what needs more ironing. Make sure that the strips are not too thin as well. Make sure that it is wide enough that after gumming on the middle, it can gum to one side and the other side as well. Now I'm done with that part. I'm going to do the same on the other part of the bustier. Now this is the final part of ironing the bustier. Now if you want to get the best effect from your bustier, make sure that you iron. Like ironing is not something you can avoid at all. It's what is going to help your bustier come out very well. Now notice how smooth it's looking at the front. I'm just going to iron the front of the bustier very, very well. There's no way you can escape ironing while making a bustier, except you don't want to get the best effect of it. There's no way. Even if you're using the ST method, that is even another way to go. We're using this wadding method because most people, they prefer to just use the wadding. But to get the best effect of your wadding, this is what I suggest you do, because most times if you don't iron it this way in your wadding, it's not going to give you such an effect. So to get the best effect, make sure that you follow this method. Now look how it looks on the inside. This is how it's going to look by the time we're done. So I'm just going to this is it. This is just the easy method of padding your bustier with just your wadding. If you don't want to go through the ST method, this is one method that you can recommend. I would gladly recommend for you to use. Now hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please kindly like and subscribe to the channel. Please turn on your post notification to help you know whenever I post a tutorial, because I'll be posting a detailed tutorial on how to sew the final bustier, this top right here. Now notice the middle of it, there is no breakage, it's just a smooth transition. So guys, please kindly like and subscribe, and see you in my next tutorial. Bye.